Okay, so this one's gonna be controversial, so please do not go with the whole gasping in the background because no one needs it. This is literally just speculation. There's no evidence for it, just my thoughts given what we've learned from the situation. That's it, okay? So let's just move on. So, we definitely need to talk about the beginning scene of Hazbin Hotel, the storybook. Now, we all know what's going on. Adam and Lilith are both created from the earth. Adam wanted control for some reason, unless he was actively told that he was meant to do so. That makes no sense. Lilith rejected that regardless, runs away, only for Lucifer to find her. Then they get together, all fine and good. Then we come to Eve, and she's given the apple to gift unto humanity, the magic of free will, and that creates hell. So, what needs to be discussed here? Principally, the idea that Lilith was able to reject Adam's control and leave to be with Lucifer means that she has free will, correct? So why does Lucifer and Lilith need to give Eve the apple or free will to even exist? Wouldn't she already have it? Well, you see, that's why we're exploring the apple and the details. So that begs the question. Now, the concept of free will is a very simplistic one, but unfortunately, it is like the freedom of speech. You can say what you want against the government without being able to retaliate against you, but you can still suffer consequences in the court of public opinion. Now, free will, by its very definition, is the power to act without the constraints of necessity or fate, the ability to act at one's own discretion. This means that you can still face consequences for your own actions. Blaming entities like God for things being horrible because of human doing makes no sense. Instead, use that free will to fix it rather than beseeching the higher powers. Because, believe me, the phone lines are opening and they're listening, they just aren't going to do anything substantial because of the vaunted free will. But that brings us to Lilith, Lucifer, and Eve. Why would Eve require the magic of free will if she would already have it? Lilith was able to escape Adam and never went back. That didn't cause evil to gain the foothold. So, let's go back to the scenes themselves.
From the dust of earth they created Adam and Lilith. Together, they wished to share the magic of free will with humanity, offering the fruit of knowledge to Adam's new bride, Eve, who gladly accepted.
If you're not getting it, then it's understandable. Though I must stress that Hazbin Hotel is not a one-to-one recreation of the Bible or even a 1-to-100 recreation of the Bible. We can still use it as a reference point for what is going on. Now, when it comes down to it, in the story, Adam doesn't really serve any role beyond being a brief antagonist. He literally has no agency in what is going on, so we need to discuss the main two figures, Lilith and Eve, as they have massive impacts on what's happening despite the latter's brief appearance as well. It makes me believe that the reason Lilith and Lucifer gave Eve the apple is because she's the only one who doesn't have free will in that situation. Adam, Lilith, Lucifer all do, but why is this? Primarily because of how they were created. Adam and Lilith were both born from the very same dust of the earth, literally created to be equals to each other. In extra biblical text, the conflict between the two wasn't that Adam was trying to gain control, but instead it was due to, well, procreation. They were both proud and unwilling to compromise, which makes sense given that this would be the only true time a sense of dominance and submission would even appear between the two, and such a friction point could even occur. Many of the normal social and societal pressures that would come later, where men are dominant and women are submissive, would not be present at this time, thus making the continuation of the human species the only flashpoint where such control would even need to be addressed. Eve, on the other hand, was not created from the dust. In Hazbin Hotel, we don't know how she was created, but until we're told otherwise, we have to go with the biblical sources. From Genesis 2:21 to 24. So the Lord God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep, and while he was sleeping, he took one of the man's ribs and then closed up the place with flesh. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib he had taken out of the man, and he brought her to the man. The man said, "This is my bone of my bones, the flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man." That is why a man leaves his mother and father to unite with his wife, and they become one flesh. As being part of Adam, this would make Eve subservient to him, the two pieces being brought together as a whole. This is utterly different from Lilith, who was her own independent being, with choices and free will from the start. Hence why Eve required the apple to become free from that. Of course, this does beg the question, why would this cause an opening for evil? It didn't happen when Lilith left Adam, so why when Eve ate the apple? Was this merely disobedience? The short answer is no. The long answer, if we take this from a logical and then from a world-building perspective, as we've been given so far, that there is one answer as to why evil was able to enter the earth at that point. Also, I want to make it completely clear, I am not blaming Eve, alright? Anyone who has actually read the Bible will know that sin didn't enter the world until after Adam ate the apple, with full knowledge that he wasn't supposed to eat it. So it's expressly Adam's fault. I just want to make that very clear for everyone, okay? That's the Bible. As we have gone over, Lilith was an independent being. Eve was a piece of Adam made into a human being. Regardless of what else was added, that piece is still the fundamental core of Eve. So when Lilith and Lucifer gave the apple to Eve and she ate it, it caused her to gain free will to do what she wants. Now, from a biological standpoint, that sounds very familiar, doesn't it? Say a cell or a cluster of cells that starts to do what it wants to do inside the body and being independent of the body, replicating out of control, causing it to overwhelm the biological system, taking resources and everything else. Sounds like cancer. And that is what we have here. Evil was able to enter the earth not because of mere disobedience, because it is the body fighting against itself, killing itself. Evil and sin spread, causing humanity as a whole to become tainted because they can only come from one singular place, Eve. As a result, it infects every child, every generation, a curse that goes on and on and on. It doesn't matter how far removed the event is, because that conflict is what allowed sin to occur. It's why I believe Adam was able to enter heaven. He didn't need to eat the fruit because he already had free will. Lilith didn't need to eat the fruit because she already had free will. Eve needed to eat it, and it caused the schism. Now, of course, this is a hypothesis. I don't know what's going to happen, okay? But honestly, this does explain a great deal. So many theologians and priests have attempted to frame the incident of the fall as being due to intercourse, which is absolutely stupid because God stays, be fruitful and multiply. How else were you supposed to do that? Usually boils make no sense sometimes. But this is something that kept popping up again and again, and it deserved an answer. Of course, I could be completely wrong. I'm going to say that right now. I could be 100% wrong. I don't know what the heck they're going to do, but given what we know so far, this is what I believe is occurring. This is the hypothesis. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. See you all next time.